Hello, and welcome to another edition of Catch Up. Once again, I'm with Tony Poulos. Morning, Tony.
Morning, Alex.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. Very nice in France this past 4 or 5 days. Weather's improved, so maybe get a bit of summer occasionally here. We're hoping, keeping our fingers crossed.
Excellent. Yep, a bit of summer in Scotland as well. I've actually been away from the office for a few days, and unlike me, you're very far away from news. Now, do you want to just bring me up to date really quickly on this whole security thing with regard to Verizon and the telcos in the US? Because I think that has big ramifications for us, actually, in the billing community.
Yeah, very scary stuff. Another gentleman working in the security services, very similar to the Manning episode and WikiLeaks. This guy has let out some information and become public to only just today with the Guardian newspaper, who broke the story in the UK. It's been picked up all around the world now. The Washington Post also ran a big story around it. The issue is that we're finding out that the government, the US government security services, through an operation called PRISM, which was approved during the post 9/11 period, when the security hysteria ran through the US, and people were passing, or the Congress was passing legislation, which really was a little scary at the time, giving the government incredible powers of surveillance. We're now finding out, or hearing, whether it's true or not, we're yet to find out, that the security services are actually connecting direct to the servers of some of the biggest players in the industry that we know, the likes of Google, Amazon, Apple, etc. And they're actually picking off data from those services for processing for security reasons. And then on top of that, we've heard since that Verizon's calls, or one of Verizon's business units, is actually recording calls, and they are being provided or being used by the government in their surveillance operations. It's very scary stuff, and I don't think half of it has come out. Of course, the spy agencies, or the agencies in the US, are screaming blue murder that their security has been compromised now. But for the rest of us that are being looked at and listened to constantly, maybe we should be a little bit concerned that Big Brother is already with us.
And I suppose that nobody told us that we're already with us.
No, I think we all presumed, and we know that the security services in most countries have access to records, calls and data traffic from operators, but it normally requires some form of, a warrant or a request through one of the few government agencies that are allowed to request them to get them. Things like police will contact you if they think they're doing a drug haul or something like that, and they want information on the perpetrators. That's been going on for years. But this is blanket coverage of all data, and with direct access to the server. So not even asking for permission, just actually going in and snooping on people and stuff. And the guy that actually was that came out in the open said that they can actually plant a device, plant a bit of software on your device. You don't know about it, and there's no way of tracking that it's there, and it can tell not only where you are, who you are, but tracks everything you're doing on that particular device. And this is really, really scary stuff. And the implications, of course, for our industry are that we're the means for the security services to access the data. We're providing the communications links. So how much our industry is connected to this, we don't know. And we don't know if all the operators know that it's actually happening. And so what's happened to privacy if it's all true? Of course, there's denial going on everywhere.
And not only what happens to privacy, but also what happens to the customer experience. We're basically banking the future of our industry on being able to use customer data. So if customer data is already being used in this way, would you or I, as a normal human being, want to share any kind of location information, any kind of profiles with anybody? I'd actually, maybe if it's getting that scary, I want to go back to an old rotary phone, for goodness sake.
Well, I think, even the rotary phone's not going to be safe, because fixed line is also being monitored.
I suppose that's true. But the other thing is, it brings up a sort of philosophical question of what role or how involved a telecommunications company needs to get in that kind of social responsibility type thing. Because when I was having a conversation with someone not so long ago, who said, as Vodafone, I can absolutely profile drug dealers. You know, they have pay-as-you-go phones, they only receive incoming calls, and they're basically in seedy parts of town. So I could take the profiles of all the drug dealers in London or Toronto or wherever and take that to the police. Maybe the police already have it, we don't know.
Yeah.
So, you know, what that means for the sort of the social economy and also privacy and, as a result, customer experience, I think it's a very complicated area. I think you're right.
Well, I think this is one time when operators may want to be very happy to be a dumb pipe and just presume no involvement in these activities and maybe presume they have no knowledge of them. But when we hear that Verizon is actually providing calls to some of those security services in the US, it's a bit scary. The funniest part of all of this is that when it first came out, the US government authority said, we're not snooping on US citizens, just foreigners. Well, that for the rest of the world is probably even more concerning. And how do they determine whether I'm a foreigner or an American? Does my passport details come up every time they access my mobile phone or my desktop computer? I'm not sure. Anyway, it's going to cause ripples and concerns for our industry. I'm waiting to see who's going to be first up to claim denial or just say, hey, don't blame us, we're just a dumb pipe. Go and blame the security services and or Google, who's opened up their services to them. Although Google has denied it emphatically already. So I don't know who to believe at the moment. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. It'll either be completely covered up or it's going to be a major, major story for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I heard the name guy called Edward Snowden, was that right, on the radio on the way into work this morning, and this thing called PRISM, and to be honest, I was a bit behind the 8 ball. I'd been away from all kind of electronic devices, which has been great, but I suppose the shocking thing to me, having heard this, and it's therefore a complete reaction, is that the scale of this thing is huge, and just huge.
Yeah, if we ever had doubts that data analysis or big data and CEM was not feasible or possible, this blows that out of the water. This is bigger than anything we've ever comprehended in terms of data collection and manipulation and access, as well as reviewing the data. I mean, this is just incredible stuff. So I'm keen to find out more, and hopefully we can get hold of somebody in there and tell us how they do it so effectively, so the rest of our industry can benefit from it.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So follow the governments as they chase us around the world.
Yeah.
Listening in on us. Yeah. Oh, well.
So that's the big news. So we'll see what happens with that. We've got an article coming in BV this week in Billing Views, also on the subject. So if anybody would like to go and look at that, they're free to do so.
Perfect. All right, Tony, that's great. Thank you very much for the catch-up.
Okay, Alex. See you next week.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.